We back. Knicks and Bruises, episode 6, I believe. We got the big dog, Uncle Freezie, in the building. What's going on, Freezie?
What's good, fam?
I'm good. I'm glad you made it. Glad you could be a part of this experience, share your
Right,
experience.
right, right.
Knicks and Bruises, like I was telling you. Basically we highlighting our pain over the years as Knicks fans, all our Knicks and all our bruises. Um, and I want to hear your experiences. So I'm sure we've seen the same stuff, we witnessed the same stuff, but everybody's nicks and bruises are different. You know, somebody might have felt it might have been harder to hear this particular situation than this one. So, what are your nicks and bruises?
Well, first of all, let me say thank you for having me on. Right,
Salute, of
right,
course.
right, right. It's a pleasure being here. You know what I'm saying? Because some joints it's like, yo, I really want to be, you know what I'm saying, on some people's joint and then don't get the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And then others people ask you to be on and you're like, oh, I don't know, dog. Let me let me see what I can do. But this right here is like one of those joints. I'm like, damn, why didn't I think of that idea first? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a grinder, bro. I'm a grinder. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be on all the time. So, but again, thanks for having me on, man. You've been so
Of
gracious
course,
over the
man.
years. You know, the first time I saw you was doing something, I was just like, yo, let me get on with Tony Crow. You know what I'm saying? So, because I know his joint gonna be dope, and it's gonna be um um thoughtful. You know what I'm saying? And whatever conversation that we have is gonna be deep, because you know you'll listen to what the people have to say and actually take it in, and then what you have to say be heavy enough for us to not be distracted and focused on what it is, because it's good conversation, because ain't nothing like having good conversation. So but
That's what I live for.
yeah, man. And so to the next part that you mentioned, bro, I know people already said this, but it's bothering me. It's like you know how you got to walk those 13, 14 blocks. You like, man, I got to walk 13 blocks. But then you got like a rock in your shoe. You got a rock in your shoe. You're like, God, dog it, man. Not only
Every
do I have to
step.
do this, and now I got a rock in my shoe. And the rock in my shoe is Alfred Payton at point guard.
Mm, you ain't even taking it back. You,
Right, right. So I'm gonna take it. I want to go back some. Right. I want to go back
this,
some.
this
I want to
it's
go
your
back.
show, baby.
So I want to go back some. I just want to just say, so the rock in my shoe right now is it's just a little something something, right? I just can't get with um. So I think Elf is the Milli Vanilli, so to speak, of the point guard of our point guard situations. I think there is some talent there, but it's not the talent that we expect, want, or need at the time. Like Milli,
He really dancing.
yeah,
He's really moving, but he ain't singing.
but he can't sing worth a damn. You know what I'm saying? You know, what I'm saying? Like you hear Milli Vanilli on the radio. You like, Dad, these dudes can sing, boy, but they ain't really singers. You know what I'm saying? And so you hear Milli Vanilli, like, and you know what I'm saying? You like, yeah, man, these dudes. You see the videos, you like, these dudes can dance and sing. That dude, one dude moved like Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? That's sacrilege in our hood. A dude moving like Michael Jackson, and he can sing too. And then you find out he can't really sing like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's just one thing. And in terms of back in the day stuff, the thing that I can't get over, or something that bothered me some, is, do you remember the Reggie Miller game? The 8 points in 9 seconds, or 9 points in 8 seconds.
I do.
Um, so I'm not for sure if that's a nick or a bruise to me. I think it's more of a I think it's more of maybe a nick. Maybe it's got me nicked up, because what people don't remember is Reggie Miller stole an inbound pass. I mean, he made a basket, right? Then he pushed the guy down, right? Fouled the guy, right? Hit a three, The inbound pass goes right to him. He knocks down a three. And then they intentionally foul John Starks. Right. So John Starks is my guy. Right. I'm the number one Starks fan in our Knicks universe. Right. All John Starks had to do was go to the free throw line after all that stuff happened. It would have been for naught. After all that stuff, the miracle, all of that stuff happened, right? After all that stuff happened, all Starks had to do was go to the free throw line and hit one free throw, right? And so Reggie Miller was like, yo, I can see it in his eyes. He about to choke. Starks is about to choke. And he gave the choke signal to Starks. He's like, yo, you choking right now. And you know what I'm saying? And Starks like brushed off, man, I ain't choking. I'm just a little nervous. I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? And all Starks had to do was hit one free throw. And Starks so nervous at the line, he barely grazes the front of the rim for the first one. And Reggie Miller looks at everybody like, I told y'all we gonna win. I told y'all, because all Starks had to do is hit one free throw and he choked it in a moment. And so Starks like, man, I ain't choking. Give me the ball, ref. And he gets the ball and he clanks the second free throw long. And so when I look back at it, I'm like, as somebody that appreciates great moments, that doesn't bother me. Like a great moment, when an athlete has a great moment, I appreciate the moment, not in real time, because in the moment you can't believe what's happening. But and when you look back on it, you're like, you know what? I can appreciate what Reggie Miller did right there. That wasn't all. That wasn't even though I'm a fan of the Knicks and hate the Pacers. You know what I'm saying? I hate the Pacers, man. I hate the Pacers. I hate the Pacers, the Heat, the Celtics. Any of our rivals. But I can appreciate a moment of greatness, right? But for Starks to choke in that moment has got me nicked up. I'm still to this day. I mean, I'm not, when people bring it up, I'm not visibly upset or shaken by it. But it's still like, a moment where it's got me kind of.
That perspective shows your true fandom and your true respect of the game, because most people who I've spoke with about this, it hasn't been on anyone's list as of yet, but most people that I spoke to about this, they equate the Reggie side more than Stark side.
Oh, wow.
And when I this is the first time I almost forgot he missed those free throws, because
yeah,
it hasn't been in my conversation with people talking about that moment. It was more of Reggie's clutchness and the foul, the push off, and so that's a great perspective of the Knicks from Starks missing.
Right, because Reggie Miller legit said, recognized Starks was choking. He was like, "Oh, he's choking right now." Because remember when they fouled Starks?
I remember when you said it. I visualized the whole thing. I remember it vividly now, but I forgot.
Yeah. Because what Reggie Miller did was so. Oh, so we rarely saw anything like that. Like 9 points in 8 seconds, you never see anything like that. And then to plus they foul Starks at one end, so they had to walk to the other end of the court. You know what I'm saying, for Starks to shoot the free throws. And the whole time down, Reggie Miller was like, "Look at him, he choking."
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Look, he talking to Pat, your man choking right now. I was like, and so I was like, oh my goodness, you know what? When you look back on it, it's one of those deals where you kind of appreciate the moment as a fan of the NBA. Kind of glad that your team was even in position to have that happen to them, because a lot of teams don't make the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? A lot of teams don't play high leverage games, right? And so for the Knicks to be in a high leverage game, for that to even happen, to me, I felt like we were fortunate. That's why it's only a Nick and not a Bruise.
I ain't gonna lie. Thinking about it now is bringing up some anxiety. Like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to continue doing this. How long I'm gonna be able to
Right.
relive these moments. But
Yo, we gonna have to have therapy after this.
it's supposed to be the therapy. I literally created this podcast so Knicks fans could express their worst moments over this past 10, 20, 30 years, however long we've been fans, and get it out, let it out, and then and let it go. Like that's the point of this. But just thinking about it, I'm like, oh man, dang, I remember.
Yeah, like, dang, did we really have that many disappointing memories, disappointing moments in our history? Because when you think about it, they start to pile up.
They do.
Yeah, they start to pile up. So you want me to talk about another Knicks moment for me? Another cut.
Yeah, let's get a couple more Knicks and then we'll get to the Bruises.
Okay, all right. So one of the things that bothered, another one of the things that bothered me, say, over the past say whatever number of years, and this is a small one, right? So our franchise player, Kristaps Porzingis, went to management and said, yo, this kid Luka Doncic is the real deal. Y'all need to stop playing around and consider drafting this kid Luka. Trade up in the draft and get Luka, right? And then so his brother comes out and was like, yo, the Knicks need to consider trading up to get Luka. And so where the Knicks comes in is the press and everybody else says, Porzingis and his brother are trying to make the Knicks make moves to improve the roster to go with Luka. Is Porzingis a star now where he can go to the front office and demand certain roster moves? And now that I look back on it, I think, oh well, let me say this. So and then in a real passive way, Frank Ntilikina goes and says, hey, yeah, listen, I went to management too, and I was like, yo, this kid Luka Doncic is the real deal. We should consider doing something to get Luka. And I'm not exactly how all the details played out, but Porzingis says, hey, consider getting Luka. And then Frank, like in the same week says, hey, listen, we should consider going and get Luka. Right? And so when I look back on it, I'm thinking to myself, man, the Knicks could have had, if they listened to their young superstar, they could have had Porzingis and Luka Doncic if they had only listened and took his word and took weight in what he was saying, right? And so while we look back at it now with revisionist history and say, well, KP ain't really that good, Julius Randle is better. Man, we could have had Luka if they had listened and Porzingis this whole time, right? And my question to those that will watch this, and those that questioned Porzingis at the time, like, how dare you go to management and say, I want this player, is what would this Knicks team look like if the Knicks indeed traded up for Luka Doncic, right? So the thing is this. Of course, you would have had to trade the pick that we used to draft Kevin Knox, and you would have, of course, had to trade the pick that you would have used to draft Obi Toppin, because you can't trade for your own first round picks in back-to-back drafts. But would you think that Obi Toppin, Kevin Knox, and maybe whatever role players that were on the team when it back then is worth a Luka Doncic? Right. So when you think about it, I'm nicked up about that right now. That right there bothers me.
That's fair. That's fair. But Luka was picked what, fourth?
Third or fourth or somewhere in there. Him and Trae Young was swapped for each other. I think Atlanta drafted him and then traded him to Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we would have had to make the trade with Atlanta.
yeah, we'd have to trade up
I
like
mean,
6 spots.
I hear what you're saying, but there's no guarantee that one, we didn't try, and two, that they would have taken that trade because Dallas was in a better position as far as swapping picks.
Right.
The difference is, I believe Atlanta also gave up a pick. Yes.
Right.
No, they got no. They got to pick back. They got to pick back.
I think Atlanta got like 3
They
picks.
Pick back.
They got the pick. They did the pick swap in that draft and like 2 other first round picks.
Okay.
And I'm here to tell you that I think the Knicks could have easily traded that pick. You know, those gave away those picks, and we'd have been in a lot better of a situation as a franchise, because I think we'd have instead of signing, and who I like Randall, right? But instead of signing Randall, we'd have had KP on a max, and we'd have had a very young superstar and Luka Doncic. So
I hear you, man. I was one of the few people. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I was one of the few people that before the draft I knew who Luka was,
right?
And that was only from really watching the international basketball for the first time ever in my life,
right?
And that was because I was watching KP,
right?
And I saw him and KP were going at it, and he actually got the better of KP.
Yeah.
So me seeing that, I knew that kid was going to be special. I didn't know he was going to be MVP level, especially at this early, but I knew he was going to be special. I could see how that's.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably a bruise for some other people.
Yeah. And so think about this. This is the thing. This is the reason why it's a Knicks for me, is because the 2 positions that the Knicks always seem to have avoided, Luka Doncic plays both of those positions. When he's on ball, he's your point guard. When he's off ball, he's your small forward. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and Luka has a high usage rate, right? Or whatever. And I didn't really want to get into all of that stuff, what he do with the Mavericks. It is what it is. I hope they be absolutely trash, so this draft pick we get can be something. But our thing is, we can't, man, over the last few years, we had dudes named Mo Harkless play small forward for us. You know what I'm saying? We had dudes, we had a dude named Mario Hezonja play small forward for us. You know what I'm saying? And so when I look back at it, I'm like, yo, Knicks front office, why are we so arrogant that we can't actually listen to players? You know what I'm saying? Like why can't we? It's not like we won 7 championships in the last 20 years where the front office has some level of credibility.
Mm-hmm.
It frustrates me, man. It's one of those things that's a Knick for me, because I feel like we were a conversation away from having a potential all-star, borderline, if the trajectory is right, multiple time all-star and maybe NBA champion. But we didn't even engage in the conversation. I'm talking about in terms of with Porzingis. Now, in terms of with the other team, you never know what degree of conversation they had with trading for Luka. But none of it came out. So as a Knicks fan, I assumed that there was no conversation.
Agreed.
Yeah. So
man, that's big, man. I think that might be a bruise for some others. I think right. if it was more publicized as far as KP requesting the Knicks to make a move for Luka, I remember the media saying KP had made requests, but I don't remember Luka specifically being named.
Right.
And maybe that was, part of him saying that cryptic tweet, the truth will come out, and everything else.
Right.
But at the time, I remember them. I remember no player's name being named. But when did you get that information?
In real time, right before the draft. in real time, like right before the draft. Like cats were like, who are the Knicks gonna get? Should we try to target Colin Sexton or Trae Young? And we were on Twitter beefing about how small Trae Young is. Like Trae Young is small, man. He'll never last in the NBA. Trae Young's too small to take the pounding. You know, Trae and the Knicks, the playing point guard in New York is different. Colin Sexton and Trae Young, they not built for New York. And then after all these years, we still searching for a point guard. And the franchise that chose those two dudes look like they have their point guard in the future. So, I mean, what can you do, Knicks fan, except take these Knicks and Bruises, man? All we do is take these Knicks and Bruises, man.
That's all right. The best character. And we're probably the strongest fans out there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I'm nicked up and bruised up, man. And now I feel like I need a cup of coffee or something in Newport just right now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man.
But yeah, man. Yeah, man. So I guess if I have to get to a third Nick. How are we on time, man? Should I speed this up some?
Hey, the floor is yours, man.
Oh,
so
okay.
we good until you gotta go, or until I hear something from my daughter. So
okay. So the third Nick is this, and this is something that kind of it's like it could have been a bruise, but it's a Nick. So as a shorty, I grew up when the Knicks were winning championships. I was little. So everybody was celebrating. I was jumping around, but I didn't really know what I was jumping around for celebrating. You know what I'm saying? The Mets win the World Series. The Jets won the Super Bowl. The Jets ain't my team, but up there, And so New York sports is popping in this era, and I'm a shorty. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, if you ever saw that movie Menace to Society, the little dude walking around with the onesie on and all that stuff, while everybody playing cards and all that. You know what I'm saying? That's me. While that's like me while everybody is enjoying the Knicks winning the championship and all that stuff, right? So by the time I get old enough to hang out with my friends at school, like be 7, 8, 9 years old, by the time I can legit start talking Knicks, the Knicks had, cats had started getting old, and you can tell. Like Clyde Frazier wasn't as fast as he was before. And Earl Pearl wasn't as flashy as he was before. Cat had got old. They moved him to power forward because Dave DeBusschere had retired. You know what I'm saying? So the Knicks, so the word around the tri-state area was like, if the Knicks get them a big man, maybe we could catch lightning in a bottle, right? So this one year, the Knicks draft this kid named Bill Cartwright. He is center, right? They draft Bill Cartwright, and we like, oh boy, we finally got our big man. We drafted him number 3. Man, we finally got our big man. Man, we going back to the championship. And then like a year or two later, or maybe around the same time, we signed the human eraser, Marvin Webster, which was like Mitchell Robinson. And if y'all know, if y'all don't know who Marvin Webster was, he's like who Mitchell Robinson is right now.
Okay.
Like the dude, you better not come across half court and try to shoot the ball because he'll block it regardless where you at. You know what I'm saying? Like you know how Mitch can block a shot under the rim and then race out to the 3-point line and block a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Marvin Webster. So I'm like, oh boy, we set, right? And then we draft this kid. A couple of years later, we draft this kid out of Indiana named Mike Woodson, right? So I'm like, oh man, we gonna be super straight, right? So we get all these players, man, and we still can't get over the hump. I mean, I constantly get so we draft Bill Cartwright, but then these fools trade Clyde to Cleveland, and I'm like, that's the most disrespectful thing. That's like a punchline. That's like a sitcom joke. Hey, Clyde Frazier, you've been traded to Cleveland. Where? You've been traded to Cleveland. And so when and the Nick for this is the end of an era, is what I'm getting at. The end of the championship era. It was kind of a Nick for me. The reason why it's not a bruise is because at the end of the era, we eventually wind up drafting the center out of Georgetown, #1 overall. And then it began another era, right? But the Nick for this is the slow decline of an era, right? I was too small. Too little to understand.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Like so those championships are not my championships, even though I was alive. You know what I'm saying? But the decline of that championship era.
I'll tell you what, man. If I had the luxury, I'd be claiming it.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I don't care if I was in a diaper. I'm claiming it.
Right.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
So, and the reason why it's a Nick for me is because I could barely remember the '73 championship. The championship before that. No, I ain't got no. I ain't even gonna lie. I ain't gonna, But what I'm saying is I got the remnants of that. Kind of like if you're a young Golden State Warriors fan right now, you were alive, you were young when they won it, but now that you're 10 years old, that was like 2 or 3 years ago. That might not be your championship. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those deals where when I look back at it, I'm like, when we drafted Bill Cartwright, I was so excited at school. Because when they traded Clyde Frazier, my teacher comes in, he outside our window smoking a cigarette. And for those that are not old enough, man, people used to smoke everywhere back in the days. They just didn't smoke inside the classroom most of the time. You know what I'm saying? Like they would just go around the corner and everybody smoked. You know what I'm saying?
I'm old enough to remember ashtrays on a plane.
Yes.
So
Yes, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Like, people don't realize what kind of society we lived in back then. And not saying for better or for worse. What I'm saying is it was what it was.
Absolutely.
So I see my teacher put out his cigarette, and my man walk up to him and say something. And his reaction like, what the hell going on? And he raised his hands, and you could tell they having an animated conversation. And he walked back. And he walked back in the classroom. And he was like, hey, for the ones that for the kids that know of what the matter, the Knicks just traded Clyde Frazier to Cleveland. Dawg. I'm a kid and I'm mad, immature, kids. Man, this feeling, I started getting hot, man, and dizzy, man, sweat. And I'll bust out crying. Right? I bust out crying in school, man. Dudes is like, Uncle Freezie, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, what's wrong with y'all? We just traded Clyde. And they like, and the girls is like, who? You know what I'm saying? and as a kid, this is the era where you used to collect baseball cards and basketball cards and football cards, man. And and the only news you got was from word of mouth, the newspaper, maybe some radio. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, man, I'm crying. And I got my little lunchbox. And I remember this because dudes that I went to school with still pick on me a little bit from that. They're like, yo, you went with Clyde. I mean, my whole, dudes never, we get older and get gray in our hair, but we still little boys on the inside when it comes to some stuff. You know what I'm saying? So dudes, and they like, hey, and so Mr. Damon, I know when you see this, you're gonna be like, yeah, Uncle Freezie cried, man. We had to give him tissues and stuff, man. And I'll be telling Damon, that ain't funny, man. That was like 1,000 years ago. He's still holding on to that. You know what I'm saying? You're like, you was crying like a little baby. We thought something happened to your family. Well, something did happen to my family.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Nick's family.
Right. So that's a Nick for me that I got. I was alive. I was old enough to watch the decline of a championship franchise, and no matter what we did, to try to stop the decline, nothing worked. Because Bill Cartwright never turned out to be Willis Reed. You know what I'm saying? And Mike Woodson never turned. Mike Woodson will give us great Knicks moments later on, but as a player, he never turned out to be Phil Bradley, Windmill Phil, or Dick Barnett. You know what I'm saying? Even though he was coming to replace them, he never turned out to be Michael Ray Richardson. Never turned out to be Walt Clyde Frazier. You know what I'm saying? So that's a Knick for me. That the fact that I watched a slow decline of a championship franchise, and no matter what we did to turn it around, there was nothing we can do because destiny is indeed destiny. When it's your time to win, it's your time to win. When it's not, it's not.
That was great, man. You took it from the rock and the shoe today to all the way back to the championship.
Right.
You know, or lack thereof, the decline of the championship.
Right.
That's great.
Right. Let me I got a dog that's on a
That is great.
I'm gonna do something real.
Yeah, you good. Family.
Yeah, so what it is my dog has a crush on a dog next door. Right? I'm talking about a legit crush. I'm talking about he loses his mind when she come outside. and she in a gate, right? She gated in, right? They prize dog is gated in. I got a mutt. You know what I'm saying? I have a stray that we took in, right? And they have a bred dog from a breeder. Okay. You know what I'm saying? They knew she was coming. You know what I'm saying? They bred to the and they waited like the whole period and they had a little welcome home and took outside and got but I have a
lady in the trap.
Yeah, kind of like I ain't even thought about that. I ain't even thought about Lady in the Trap. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. So, but every time she go outside, he loses his mind. He like, hey, Uncle Freezie, let me out this door. What you doing? My girl outside waiting on me. So, but anyway. So I guess now we get to the part where everybody see Uncle Freezie cry on national TV. The Bruises.
I guess so, man. It's the big ones.
All right.
It's the ones that hurt our soul.
All right. So I won't do the obvious. Like I know people will probably say Starks Game 7 is a bruise for them.
I've got it once. Hey, whatever they are for you, man. You don't got to downgrade because some of them are gonna be the same just because we've all witnessed the same stuff. Some of the younger guys won't have some of the stuff that some of us older guys have, but if it's up there, man, if it's in your top 3, then you can name it. You know what I mean? But yes, I've gotten Starks of what was it, 2 for 14. I've gotten the finger roll twice. I've gotten a lot of them haven't really been duplicated. I think the only one that's like consistent on everyone's top 5 is the finger roll. So far.
Wow. So let me start with my big bruise, right? So first of all, I think Steph Curry is one of the greatest players to ever breathe breath. I think he revolutionized the game, right? I think he took an ordinary man body, like an ordinary guy body, and turned it into a weapon of mass destruction, right? Right. And so my number 1 bruise of all time in Knicks history is hearing this. So with the next 2 picks, you'll have the Golden State Warriors pick at 7 and the New York Knicks pick at 8, and we'll be right back after this commercial break, right? So I'm like, okay. The Knicks need a point guard. What else is new? The Knicks need a point guard. What else is new? This is not new. This is something we do. Go through this draft right here. Guess what the Knicks will need? A point guard, right? So I've been hearing rumors the whole time. Del Curry is angling to get his son to come to New York, right? That was the rumor. Del Curry is getting his son to England, his son to come to New York. And so I'm like, okay, if he can shoot half as good as Del Curry, he's exactly what we need. If he can shoot half as good as Del, because Del Curry used to murder us. You know what I'm saying? Del Curry, I remember Charlotte used to have like this weird rotation of I think this was the rotation they had of Muggsy Bogues, Kendall Gill, Percy Hawkins, Eddie Johnson, and Del Curry. Like this weird 5-guard rotation. And when they put them dudes on the floor, they used to shoot that three. Oh my God. So I'm like, man, why can't we have that in New York? If we'd have had that around Pat Ewing, we'd have won a couple championships, right? Not that those dudes were dynamic players, but they thrived in their roles, right? So I'm thinking, if this dude is half the shooter Del Curry is, he automatically solves the need for us. So we come back from the commercial break. Golden State needs a small forward. They need a power forward. They need just about everything, right? So the dude says with the number 7 pick in the NBA draft, the Golden State Warriors select Stephen Curry from Davidson University and all this stuff. And I fall backwards on my bed, right? Because I'm like, this has got to be the cruelest joke anybody has ever played on a New York Knicks fan, right? Because nobody knew Steph Curry was going to be that good back then. But all we wanted was love, right? Steph Curry looked like he wanted to come to New York and show us love, and the fan base wanted to show love to a young guy that actually wanted to be in New York, right? This looked like a match made in heaven.
Agreed.
Except fate was like, nah. Destiny was like, no. Didn't I tell y'all that y'all will never have a point guard? Y'all traded Clyde Frazier to Cleveland, right? Y'all are cursed. Y'all are never getting a point guard. Y'all will never get a point guard. Y'all traded Clyde Frazier to Cleveland, right? Y'all ain't never getting a point guard. Never. Y'all gonna be cursed. And so Steph Curry is doing the interview. He mad. You can tell he visibly upset, right? He visibly upset that he got selected by Golden State. It's like, what do they need me for? They already have dudes. They already have guys that they already have Monte Ellis and a whole bunch of other dudes. You know what I'm saying? That play the position. What do y'all need me for? And to make the joke even crueler, right? Because at the time, so Johnny Flynn played for Syracuse, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, well, if we don't get Stephen Curry, at least we'll get Johnny Flynn out of Syracuse.
You know what I'm saying? It's funny because if you didn't say it, I was gonna say it.
Right. And so I'm like, there's no way all three of the point guards are gonna be gone, because there was a mystery guy from Spain in that same draft, a young dude, you know what I'm saying, with the Luka Doncic pedigree, running around with floppy hair. They would compare him to Pistol Pete. So I was like, I don't know who this Ricky Rubio kid is, but if we have to wait 2 years to get him and he's that good, the 2 years will be worth it, right? But nah, Johnny Flynn goes in front of us. Ricky Rubio goes in front of us. So I'm like, yo, if this kid Steph Curry is half the shooter his pops is, then at least I know he got us a player. With the number 7 pick in the NBA draft, the Golden State Warriors select Stephen Curry out of Davidson University, right? So, all right, so I'm already wounded, right? So it's like getting shot and then looking for an ambulance and getting hit by a car. Because with the next pick, we select Jordan Hill, bum ass. You know what I'm saying?
I was wondering if you was even gonna mention him. Man. And if you did, that's the first thing I was gonna say. And then who did we select? Because, yeah, that was like insult on top of injury, 100%. Yo,
right,
100%.
Right.
Like, really?
So I get shot accidentally. Somebody busting at somebody else. I get shot. And I'm like, help, yo, somebody get me to that. Then I get hit by a car. You know
No,
what I'm saying? That's what it
no, you get hit by an ambulance.
Yeah, run over by the ambulance. Oh boy, man. That hurt my heart so much. That right there is a bruise, something that I'll never get over. That is something I'll never get over. Because it seemed like destiny was aligning for us. We need a point guard. We pick 8, and there are 3 legit point guards in the draft. And come to find out, we get none of them. You know, it frustrates because if it had been a situation where we didn't take Steph Curry because we felt like there was a better player, then I get that because now you know that the scouts just didn't see it in him and he proved everybody wrong. But in this case, we knew Steph Curry was going to be something. We just didn't know to what degree it was going to be. I figured he'd be a really good starter, is what I thought. Like he'd be about 16 points a game and a piece to a championship contender. I had no idea he was going to be the 2-time league MVP, 1-time unanimous MVP, 3 championships in 5 years, Steph Curry. I had no idea he was going to be that.
I don't think anyone did. But yeah, I loved him because of his passing more than his shooting. And I knew that was going to translate. Well, obviously shooting translates everywhere.
Right.
But the way that he passed in Davidson, because he was the main guy,
right?
You know what I mean, and actually won games. You know what I mean? Like a lot of guys, they'll put up those kind of Steph Curry numbers in college, but they won't win games. They won't make a tournament. You know what I mean? They won't succeed. It won't translate to team success.
Right.
And he showed team success from that's Davidson's a mid-major.
Yeah, they were a mid-major back then
at the time, right?
Yeah. So the thing is I think the Knicks wanted Steph, and Steph wanted the Knicks, and for a team to jump in and be like, no, I'm gonna snatch destiny out of your hands, right? It frustrates me because we would have gone from like a team that valued certain things to just valuing winning. Like as a Knicks fan, I feel like we value certain stuff that don't make sense. Like we value the defense, grit and grind type style of the Knicks of the 90s instead of valuing winning in today's NBA. You know what I'm saying? I would say we need to value winning in today's NBA over everything, right? If you want to win a championship, it doesn't matter what style you play. You know what I'm saying? As long as you win the championship. I don't care if we win a championship beating teams 150 to 149. You know what? We won a championship. You know what I'm saying? That should be the most important thing. I think some Knicks fans want us to win a championship by winning 199. I'm here to tell you, I don't care how we win. Just win. I don't care. So the Steph Curry to the Warriors thing bothers me because Steph Curry was snatched up by the Golden State Warriors right in front of us. And then, thank you. So he was snatched up right in front of us. And then Golden State got the championships that the Knicks should have got.
That's a big one. That's definitely a bruise, man. I mean, I don't even like thinking about that. The what ifs.
The what ifs.
The what ifs, like, because we go crazy. We got enough of not what ifs, like real life, that stuff that happened. That,
right.
You know what I mean? That's crushing. To dwell on that one, like I remember how I felt at the time, and you know it's always brought up every time, every championship he wins. You know, every anytime he drops a 50-point game,
right?
But
It's
story of our career, man. I mean, and I mean, I think you said it best. The curse of trading Clyde. And you know, it's funny. Sims number one was the trading of Patrick Ewing,
oh
and
wow.
and
Wow.
he attributes you know, somewhat of a curse after that.
Yeah,
So
man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's rough. It's rough. It's rough being a Knicks fan, man, because you watch these things and you know karma is a biatch. You know what I'm saying? And so you trade away the guy that gave his heart and soul to you for nothing. What did you get? You didn't even get anything for Clyde, man. You know what I'm saying? But so I'll move on to the next one. So the bruise for me, I have two bruises, right? And they're tied for second. The first one is the 1990, I think it's the 1992 New York Knicks being hot as fish grease, being the best team in the NBA, and could knock off the Chicago Bulls, right? And then the other one is the year Charles Smith was under the basket and couldn't make a layup. So those two are tied for me, but I'll do the 92 one first. So in 92, we were ramping up to knock the Chicago Bulls in a lip. And everybody knew it. Everybody knew it. Everybody knew this Knicks team was built to knock off Jordan, right? Everybody knew it. We had Jordan stoppers, not stoppers, but we had guys that could defend Jordan to stop him from hold Jordan to 30 and not go for 47. Other teams didn't have that. We had dudes that could cap Jordan at 35, right? And fate throws us a bone, right? So fate throws us a bone. Before the series, before Jordan gets to us, Michael Jordan sprains his wrist on his shooting hand. So I'm like, oh my God, justice, right? Finally, we get something to go our way, right? Finally, so we play the Bulls, and it's starting to play out just like what I thought. The Bulls roster was flawed, right? They totally depended on Mike Jordan and Scottie Pippen. Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen did all the heavy lifting. So if one of those guys got hurt, you could beat them, right? Mike did all the stuff, and whatever he couldn't do, Scottie did all the collateral stuff. I don't care what it was, rebounding, shot blocking, assisting, playing point. Scottie did all the other stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Mike Jordan comes in our playoff series with a sprained wrist, right? And I'm like, we got your ass now, Mike Jordan. We got you now, right? Because we ain't the Lakers. You ain't just going to come, jump in the air and change hands and finesse around the rim and do all that stuff against us, because we're going to knock your teeth out.
You know
what I'm saying?
Put it on your butt.
Yeah. You gonna hang in the rim and change your mind and all kind of stuff. And nah, not on us. Not on us. So we go into the playoff series, we jump out to a 2-0 lead, just like what we thought. Right? In the third game, the Knicks have an 8-point lead, about to make it 10. Oakley misses a shot that could have put us up 10, right? The Bulls get a rebound, and they come down court. They throw up bricks. The Knicks are all over them like white on rice. Every shot they put up, dudes have like two hands in their face. They can't figure out the Knicks defense, right? They can't figure it out. So we got the number, right? Jordan had thrown up a shot, and by some weird twist of fate, they get the ball back or whatever. Jordan is off. The Bulls are off. They look flustered, right? John Starks, they ISO Jordan on John Starks, right? Jordan gets into his triple threat. Starks reaches at the ball and knocks it away. It goes out of bounds on Jordan, off of Jordan. We about to get the ball back, right? It's a clean swipe. Clean. Starks never touched that man, right? The referees call a foul on Starks. Of course they do. Because one dude is the golden child and Michael Jordan. And 4 years earlier, the other dude was bagging groceries at the grocery store. Didn't know if he was going to be, you know what I'm saying, be a grocery store guy or an NBA player. So, of course, Jordan get the call. But it don't stop there. Jordan looks at the referee and is like, yo, y'all need to throw Starks out the game because he tried to hurt my wrist. You know I'm already injured. And the referee looks at Starks and tees him up. Wait a minute. You gonna give Starks a tech after the fact? Right? You giving Starks a tech. So Stark loses it, right? And Jordan says, look at him. Y'all need to throw him out of the game. And guess what? The referees throw Starks out of the game. Right? Pat Riley is like, yo, what just happened? What just happened? And they're like, yo, they just threw Starks out of the game. And so they like, oh my goodness. And so Pat's like, what's going on? And it was like, and so the referees are like, yo, Mike said Starks tried to hurt his wrist. And Pat Riley is like, what are you talking about? And they like, Mike said Starks tried to hurt his wrist. You know Mike is already hurt. And Pat Riley is, what are you talking about? Why does what Michael Jordan say like that carry that much weight? Pat Riley gets teed up. Right? The rest of that game, every time a Knicks player touch a Bulls player, they call foul on the Knicks. Yep. And so after that game, people are blaming Starks, like Starks tried to hurt Michael Jordan's wrist. Dog, are you serious? First of all, Mike Jordan was already hurt. And secondly, why does that get Starks thrown out of the game? What are we talking about? And so the Bulls go on to win that game and win 3 straight because the referees clearly had an agenda for the Bulls to get back to the championship. And it was evident because of the way they officiated that game, that series against the Knicks. Though that's forever going to be a bruise to me because I saw it play out in real time and could not believe that a league could be fixed. And in watching it, it was clear that it was all about Michael Jordan, the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls era. So all the championships after that, I give them 0 credit. I don't care nothing about the 70-win team. I don't care about them winning 6 championships in 8 years. I don't care nothing about none of that stuff because I saw how Michael Jordan got John Starks kicked out of a playoff game for being aggressive and how the referees backed up Michael Jordan. And so what it told me right then, if you don't have a Michael Jordan, you're not winning the championship. That's a bruise for me.
That's big, man. That's big. That might be the reason why I never liked Jordan. I never got a chance to appreciate Jordan. And that's one of the reasons why today I appreciate LeBron.
Right.
Because I had so much hatred for Jordan.
Yep.
That you know, I knew what he did. I knew who he was. But if people ask me, I'd be like, oh, nah, Magic's my favorite player, or Magic's the best player in the league. Right. You know what I mean? That was my stance for years. Right. And I don't know if it's specifically because of that, but again, you brought a memory back up that I remember going to school the next day, the fix is in.
Yep.
The league is fixed. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so I can't blame David Stern, right? Because even with Magic Johnson and Larry Bird in a prime, the league was still not as profitable as they wanted it to be. But Michael Jordan was the golden child. Michael Jordan was that player that could take the league from being some national basketball league to the best league in the world. And so I can't fault him for that, but I can fault him for the way that they did it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm frustrated because I saw the rise of Starks. Like I saw the rise of Ewing, right? I saw the rise of Patrick Ewing, but I also know that without John Starks, a lot of those memories that we have of Pat Ewing would not be there. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw Starks in real time, I was like, hey, Starks might be my favorite player because he got the most out of the least. Like he was the least talented of all those guys, but he had the most heart of all those guys. You know what I'm saying? So I can kind of dig. I can kind of dig because Starks didn't have Latrell Sprewell talent.
Mm-mm.
He didn't have Allen Houston shooting.
You're right.
You know,
He was all heart. He was my favorite player. Probably the first half of my Knicks fandom.
right.
And that's exactly why, man. He was 100% heart.
Right.
Didn't back down. Didn't care who it was.
Right.
And it saddened me to see him upset.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like a couple of times he used to be pouting on the court, and I was a kid and I started pouting at home. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like his emotions, you felt them.
Right.
Like whatever he was feeling, you felt it through the TV. Like,
yep. Because so it's like the dudes, his peers were like first round picks, second round picks. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, excuse me. So it's like, one of those situations where, if like the first round picks, if they had a bad game, they'll go back to their mansion and they'll sip champagne, they eat caviar, lay down on a mink carpet, and contemplate what happened in the game. Starks knew if he had a bad game, he might get cut and be back in Oklahoma bagging groceries. So he played like that every game. Every game, he like, yo, if I don't do something, if I don't impact the game in a positive way, I'm gonna be back bagging groceries. You know what I'm saying? And you had that feeling that you don't want to see this kid that went through so much get cut and go back to bagging groceries. Now, after a few years, we knew he wasn't gonna go back to bagging groceries. But you still had that. But everybody still had that sense that Starks was desperate.
mm-hmm.
Desperate to be somebody. And so while you might not rank John Starks as a top 10 shooting guard or combo guard, whatever you want to call him for his era, you can at least respect him. His name rings bells for that era. Like that's the Reggie Miller era. So that's the Clyde Drexler era, the Mitch Richmond era. You know what I'm saying? A whole bunch of guards, a whole bunch of
big guards too.
Yeah. That's the Eddie Jones era. You know what I'm saying? A whole bunch of guys had. That's the Sean Elliott era. You know what I'm saying? That's the but the person that's just as famous as any of those people is John Starks for doing getting so much out of his limited opportunities and talent.
He was the guy that made it from the block,
Yes.
Like dude just work. He just gonna outwork you.
Right.
He gonna outwork you.
He just got because in the back of in the forefront of his mind, he didn't want to go back to the block. He didn't. Being an NBA player was his dream, and it's everybody's dream, and I get it. But some dudes fall over backwards into the NBA, and some dudes have to get a running start and bust through the front door and won't leave. That's Starks. You know what I'm saying? Because the Knicks had drafted guys. The Knicks had drafted guys in the first round. They had they Johnny Newmans, they Kenny Skywalkers, they Gerald Wilkins, all these guys. They Rod Stricklands, they Mark Jacksons, all these guys. And then they have a dude who was the 12th man on the roster, John Starks. Only reason why he made the team is because of an injury exception, right? And so Pat, like, yo, in a way, it's like when D'Antoni looked down in the bench, he was like,
Jeremy Lin,
send an Asian kid in there. I mean, we just need a spark. Just send him in the game and let's see what he got. And it turns into magic. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing with Starks. Because John Starks' first game in the NBA was against Michael Jordan. And Starks was like, yo, when I walked up to him, I was like, yo, I stuck my hand out. And he said, Starks is like, yo, it's a pleasure to be playing against you, Mike. You know, I'm just glad to be here. And Mike was like, call me Mr. Jordan. And Starks was like, yo, this was the beginning of that beef I had with Mike Jordan. Call me what? And Mike said, you heard me, call me Mr. Jordan. You don't call me Mike. You ain't nobody. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the beginning of why Starks has the attitude and stuff that he has. You know what I'm saying? Reggie Miller, who was a pedigree person. Reggie Miller was All-American, went to UCLA, high-profile school, get drafted. You know, all this stuff.
You could tell Reggie had that attitude towards Starks.
Yes.
Like who are you?
Right.
You know what I mean? What school you play at?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what pick were you drafted?
Right. Right. And so they laugh because Starks was a mutt. Starks went to three different colleges. Right. He went to San Antonio and got some run, almost made the team, but they wanted a veteran, so he got cut. They sent him out to Golden State. Golden State had they had Mitch Richmond, Sarunas Marciulionis, and another guy at a position, and it was like, man, we want to keep you, but we can't. So they cut him. He went to the CBA. Golden State brought him back. You know, he played a little bit. They cut him. But you know what I'm saying? They brought him back, you know, back and forth, and then so my man was like, yeah, Don Nelson, Larry Brown had told Don Nelson about Starks, and then Don Nelson had told Pat Riley about Starks. He was like, yo, at least, just give him a shot in training camp. At least what he'll do is be competitive in camp. And
make other guys go harder. Right.
And so that was the beginning of, and this is Run TMC Don Nelson, right? Like, yo, this kid Starks has something, but we just don't have room for him. Just give him a shot. And for those that don't remember Run TMC, yeah, y'all missed it. Y'all,
the original Big Three.
Yes, y'all missed it. And when they say Run TMC, they meant that. they meant that, dog. They meant in the era where teams were starting to get into that Detroit Pistons, New York Knicks defensive mindset. Run TMC was like, hey, we're gonna put a hand in your face. If you make it, you make it.
Yep.
Yep. You know what I'm saying?
But you better stop us.
But you better stop us. Because we got Run TMC, but we got other dudes that could score too. But Run TMC will score 20 a piece, easy. But the other dudes, they trying to get Marciulionis was like, I don't know why I'm not starting. I'm better than all three of them dudes. I'm better than Tim Hardaway and Mitch Richmond and Chris Mullin. And people were like, not really, but okay.
I love your attitude.
Yeah, we like the attitude, kid. You know. Yeah, but my last bruise is the one that is kind of heartbreaking in a way, in a different way. It's kind of like the Jordan swipe at the wrist. You know the fix is in, right? So Charles Smith gets a rebound, and all he has to do, Charles Smith is 1 foot away from the rim at 6'10" and long arms. Athletic too, right? So he gets a rebound, and he goes up to win the game with a weak layup. He just jumps and tries to lay it up. Horace Grant swipes across his head and knocks his head off, right? No biggie. It's the 90s basketball. There's a no layup rule in the 90s. In the 80s and 90s, there was a no layup rule. And I get it. So I'm not blaming Horace Grant at all. There's a no layup rule. You know what I'm saying? You want these 2 points, you're going to get them at the line. But Charles Smith gets the rebound back and puts up another feathery light attempt at the basket. And Scottie Pippen rakes across his hands, right? Charles Smith goes up, flying everywhere. The ref with the whistle is 2 feet away, looking like. Charles Smith gets the rebound again. Goes up with another feathery light attempt to put in a 1-foot basket at 6'10". Horace Grant this time tries to knock his head and shoulders off. The ref is looking like. And so Charles Smith gets the offensive rebound again. This time he pump fakes. Scotty jumps across his head. Charles Smith jumps into Scotty. Horace Grant swipes across and tries to knock his head off. Charles Smith misses. The Chicago Bulls get the rebound and outlet it, and the Knicks lose. Why is this a bruise for me? Because it tells me 4 things at one time. First of all, the NBA did not want the Chicago Bulls to beat did not want the Knicks to beat the Chicago Bulls in the playoffs, because the Chicago Bulls were their darling team at the time. The Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan, that Michael Jordan era Chicago Bulls team, was the darling of the NBA, making the NBA money hand over fist. They were making more money. They were making money so fast they couldn't count it all because of the Chicago Bulls. Because Michael Jordan was that guy. It was like it was lightning in a bottle, right? The NBA gets a new television contract with NBC where they playing live games, and they get the cable contracts, right? But they need a star, and the Chicago Bulls are and Michael Jordan is that star that they need, right? So knocking off the money cow was not in the cards for the Knicks, right? So that's the one thing I noticed. The second thing I noticed is that if you're not a star in the NBA, you're not getting calls, period. Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant were borderline all-stars. I think Scottie Pippen was an all-star. Horace Grant was a borderline all-star at the time, right? And so they would get calls. But if you're a random guy, if you're a Charles Smith, you're not getting calls. Even in the playoffs, even with seasons on the line, you're not getting calls, period, right? Period. It doesn't matter. So the third thing there is Charles Smith is the softest 6'10" guy I ever seen in my life. Right? Right. When Horace Grant came across my head like that, screw basketball. Forget basketball. Dog, you came across my head like that. Forget basketball. Man, me and Horace Grant are legit fighting right there. For you to foul me like that, and I don't do nothing, I'm less than a man. Why am I even there? You know what I'm saying? The dude legit fouled you on purpose, went across your head. And then you looking at the referee like, why did you call that? Charles Smith, I promise you, it would have took the jaws of life to get me off of Horace Grant if he'd have fouled me like that. I don't care how big a dude is. And I'm not saying, and look here, I'm not saying that I'm Triple H or Mike Tyson and none of that stuff. But when a man put his hands on you like that, it go beyond basketball, Charles Smith. Come on. Right? And so the one last thing about that is afterwards, how it's proclaimed that the Bulls do all the right things in all the right situations, and the Knicks are dumb. The Knicks at that time were not dumb thugs. You know what I'm saying? People put this label on the Knicks like all we were goons, right? In that Charles Smith situation, who were the goons?
You know why they say that? Because they worked with the Detroit Pistons,
right?
And it kind of like disappeared them. So it was like, all right, that's what we gotta do when we feel like these guys are rough, we call them goons.
Right. And I just think it's so everybody might not remember this, but when we when we used to play this team, when we used to play the Philadelphia 76ers back in the early 80s, we were a finesse team, except for Truck Robinson. So shout out to Truck Robinson. When Truck Robinson was on the floor, everybody, and I mean everybody, and I'm talking about Bill Laimbeer, John Sally, all these dudes were on their best behavior when Truck Robinson was on the floor, right? But when Truck wasn't on the floor, the Philadelphia 76ers in particular, used to foul us so unnecessarily hard that you thought that they had a personal vendetta. Like they were big boying us. Like they would set screens, but when a screamer came, to knock our guards' heads off. And they did it, right? They used to, man, they hit Darryl Walker so hard with a screen one time, I thought Darryl Walker was dead. Because he laid out on the floor, spread eagle on the floor. And they were like, and so the Knicks were like, you know what I'm saying, running over to try to fight, and they was getting slung all over the dudes, getting their jerseys ripped off, getting scratched up. And then when Truck Robinson came, everybody was like, no, Truck, wait a minute. No, that ain't what it was, Truck. That ain't what it was. You know what I'm saying? Moses Malone like, Truck, stop it. We was playing physical. You know we played physical. And Truck like, yeah. But when you fouled Truck Robinson hard, he was like, yeah, he's going straight. He's shooting people two pieces. I don't care about no free throws. I don't care about the game check. You know what I'm saying? You foul me like that and we gonna fight. You know?
That was one of the things I miss, and one of the things I loved about the Knicks, man. Right. And probably the NBA overall. I just want to give you one of my Knicks, because it kind of correlates with this particular subject, and maybe you'll remember. You remember when the Knicks played the Nets in the playoffs? This was the Jason Kidd, Kerry Kittles,
Kenyon Martin. Yeah, I remember that. You
remember that foul Kenyon Martin put on
Tim Thomas? Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And no Knick player came up and got in his face, pushed through. Like, they all was just standing at the free throw line. All right. Tim, come shoot your free throws.
Right.
Like, I don't even remember if a Knick helped them up. I think somebody helped them up, but it took a minute.
Right.
You know, and it was one guy. Usually you got two guys, you know, one guy grab a hand, the other guy grab the other hand, pull you up. And when I seen that, man, that was one of the low moments as a Knicks fan, that nobody rallied and tried to defend him.
Right.
And I was like, oh man, that's when I knew it was a new era. I'm like, this ain't the Knicks that I'm used to, you know?
Right.
At the very least, we've always had one guy, like you just named, Tucker or Oakley,
right?
Or, you know what I mean, enforcer who's, hey, I'll take one for the team. I'll miss 3 games,
right?
But I'm gonna let you know,
we are not having it. We are not having it. That was Truck Robinson. Truck Robinson was like, hey, no lie. And so the toughest dude that I've seen in the NBA, even tougher than Oakley, probably 3 times tougher than Oakley, was a dude named Buck Williams, right?
He played for the Bucks too, right?
No, he played.
He was on the Knicks too.
He played for the Nets, and then he got traded to Portland, and he was Portland power forward with Clyde Drexler and all of them when Portland was really, really good. When it was Jerome Kersey, Duckworth, Buck.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Right. And so we wound up getting Buck Williams at the end of his career, but I wanted him at the beginning of his career, but we just could never pull a trade off. But I saw a dude foul Buck Williams, like jump on Buck Williams' back, right? Buck Williams was about to shoot, and then he stopped and held the ball out like this, and the dude was still on Buck Williams' back. He pulled the dude off his back and held him like this. If you ever do that again, I'm gonna kill you. And he shoved the dude out of bounds.
Was that on the Knicks?
No, that was on in the New Jersey Nets when he did that.
Oh, because I recall him throwing hands as a Knick, and he was old.
Yes,
And he was still throwing the hands like,
yes.
nah.
At the drop of a dime. At the drop of a dime, Buck Williams. I'll never forget that as long as I live. Because, when Buck went during that era, I was young, you know what I'm saying? I'd have been like 15, 16 years old. Buck Williams is about to shoot, right? Going up. And the dude jumps on his back and mug him. And Buck stops the shot at mid-shot, grabs the dude off his back, and like, you ever do that again, I'll kill you. You know what I'm saying? And shove the dude like 5 rows back in the past photographers and all that stuff, and then slam the basketball down. And the referee is like, Mr. Williams, you want to shoot your free throws? You know what I'm saying? Buck Williams was legit that dude, man. And Buck Williams, people say Oakley was tough. Buck Williams was like a dude, his size, jump on his back, come across him, and you know what I'm saying? And the dude is like, pull the dude off his back with one hand, look him in his eyes, and tell him, and then shove him. And the referee's all nervous, like, Mr. Williams, you want to shoot your free throws, son? You know what I'm saying? So, and then I say that, and then to look at Kristaps Porzingis, a 7'3" dude who can't even get you 7 rebounds a game, and he's 7'3". So I'm just saying the eras in basketball are different.
100%. But speaking of eras, we got a lot of Knicks and Bruises out. Let's touch on this current era, this new regime, this new roster. Feels like we're moving in the right direction finally. It looks like dots are connecting. The pieces to the puzzle are forming, and the future's bright. What say you?
So so a lot of people in Knicks universe will say Uncle Freezie is the unreasonable optimist. Like I'm the optimist for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Like they like, why you always look at the bright side of stuff? And so the reason being is because for years I was forced to look at the dark side of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now that we're in a situation where we don't have to look at the bad side of everything, I choose to look at the bright side of stuff because it's an option that I've never had before. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll give you an example. So we have 3 kids on our roster that I think will eventually be all-stars, and not 1 or 2 times, but in the all-star game for years to come. Right? The first one is Julius Randle. Right? And so a lot of Knicks fans think Julius Randle is too old to continue to develop and become an all-star, right? But I'm here to tell you that what Julius Randle is doing, for one, is natural. So what he's doing is a natural thing. Like it's not like he's shooting 70% from the 3-point line. That's unnatural. That don't happen. But Julius Randle being able to find guys, open guys, for assists is a natural thing for him. Julius Randle rebounding at a high level is a natural thing for him at 6'9", 258, 254. He's an excellent rebounder, right? People look at Mitch's numbers like, why didn't he rebound more? Well, the opportunities aren't there because, for one, we have the slowest pace in the league. So we have the fewest amount of shots and misses, you know what I'm saying, for the opportunity to get rebounds. And then you also have another guy in Julius Randle that's a double-digit rebounder. So the opportunities aren't there. So that impacts Mitch, right? So I think Julius Randle has the opportunity to be a 3-time All-Star in the East. And I'm not saying All-Star starter. I ain't saying that. And I'm not saying All-Star game MVP. I'm not saying that. Of course not. But what I'm saying is when a guy averages 22 points, 11 rebounds, and 6.5, 7 assists, at power forward, that's rare. You know what I'm saying? That's rare. It's so rare that only 2 people in the league are doing it. Him and the center from Denver are doing it.
Jokic, yeah.
Right. So I think the future is bright with Randall. And when it comes time to pay him, I say pay him. Right. And that's not a popular take because a popular opinion, because in terms of Knicks fans, we're so used to turning over the roster. We think turning over the roster is a natural thing. But I'm here to tell Knicks fans, constant turnover like we've been doing for the last 4 or 5 years is an unnatural thing. You don't ever want to do that. You maybe want to turn over 2 or 3 or 4 roster spots every year because of rookies and a couple of free agents. But for the most part, you want to keep a core group of guys together. And the Knicks don't do that. I think RJ Barrett is a superstar in the making, and I think you're seeing his ascension right now. But I don't want to talk about RJ, right? I want to talk about Emmanuel quickly. So not only do I think Emmanuel quickly is the point guard of the future, I think he might be one of the future of the NBA type dudes, right? And so I said that to Sim, and Sim was like, "What are you talking about?" And so I'm here to tell you, these dudes, stars, you don't always know where they come from. If you knew where stars came from all the time, everybody would go there and pick one. You know what I'm saying? If everybody knew where stars came from, it would be easier to find them, and everybody would have more of them, right? But people's road to stardom is different. Right, like so Dame Lillard went to Weber State, right? Nobody gave him a serious look going into college. He went to Weber State, but he was killing at the Adidas basketball camp, the ABC camp, right? People at the ABC camp remember he was killing Derrick Rose as a freshman in college, right? Killing Derrick Rose. And people are like, well, D Rose was only playing at half speed. Okay. D Rose was only playing at half speed in these exhibitions. I get it. Right? Killing cats like James Harden, all these dudes, all these Adidas dudes. It's like, yo, that kid Damian Lillard, in the right hands, he could be something. Right? So we get our opportunity. So Calipari tells us off the rip, the Knicks got something. So the last time Calipari said something, he was like, "Yeah, Kevin Knox is gonna take them about 3 or 4. Yeah, it's gonna take them 3 or 4 years. You got to let them, do such. I don't trust Calipari. I think he was a used car salesman. But when asked about quickly, immediately he was like, "The Knicks have something. They got something." And Coach Payne is gonna make sure he be special. And so I connect the dots because, with me, I connect the dots. Because and so the Knicks fans tell me about this guy named Walt Perrin. They're like, yo, that kid, that dude, that old man, Walt Perrin from the Utah Jazz, he can spot diamonds in the rough. You know what I'm saying? He can spot diamonds in the rough. And so he was the one that got them to trade for Donovan Mitchell. I was like, trade for Donovan Mitchell. And then I thought the Denver Nuggets drafted Donovan Mitchell on draft night. They backcourt could have been Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray, right? But the Jazz came in and was like, nah, let's give you something for Donovan Mitchell. And so they get something for Donovan Mitchell, right? And Donovan Mitchell goes from being a 6'2", 6'3" combo guard who hadn't harnessed all his superpowers, gets to Utah and becomes a star immediately, right? Immediately, And so I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, so the Knicks have Walt Perrin, and Walt Perrin okayed this thing, drafting Emmanuel quickly. And Calipari said the Knicks have something. And Kenny Payne is here like, yo, I can unlock this thing. But the kicker is Johnny Bryant worked every day with Donovan Mitchell, right? Every day with Donovan Mitchell, unlocking his superpowers, right? So Donovan Mitchell can become a star. And I'm like, well, where's Johnny Bryant at right now? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. He's in New York.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay. And so all this stuff is pipe dream to me, right? All this stuff is pipe dream to me. So I'm like, I ain't gonna say this stuff out loud. It just there's all this stuff, all these random occurrences may not lead to what I think it would. But then, like 5 games in, I see Emmanuel quickly bust out some of the moves that Spider Mitchell does. The hard forward dribble step back 3. Wet. Wait a minute. Okay, I see you. And the other night, no lie, the other night against Cleveland, man, I was dozing off in the game. I'm like, it ain't nothing but Cleveland. Cleveland ain't gonna do nothing. Now, I already know the Knicks gonna win this game because Cleveland record is inflated with W's against. They basically they had a light schedule except for Brooklyn, right? The Knicks 8 or 9 wins come from against playoff teams. We loading up. We getting W's against teams that legit have talent. Mm-hmm. We ain't got to the soft part of our schedule yet. Nope. So I'm like, when I look at Cleveland, I'm like, yeah, this is an easy dub right here. So, but I doze off and I wake up and I see RJ Barrett exploded before halftime against Cleveland. And they showing the replay, and I see he done posted up smaller guards. Oh my God! Okay, that's the thing we was looking for. And Emmanuel quickly is in his bag. So basically, what I'm getting at is this: I believe Emmanuel quickly. If the Knicks don't nick it up like they normally do, if the Knicks don't get in their own way. If the Knicks don't do something stupid like trade quickly for Zach LaVine, trade Obi quickly, RJ, Mitch, and 4 first-round picks for Zach LaVine. As long as they don't do something crazy like that, I think this Knicks team is on the rise. And I do believe the Knicks will finish this season with a winning record and be probably the 5th seed in the East.
I've been calling 6. So you a little more optimistic than I am. I've been calling 6 and say we're gonna miss the playing game. Everybody's like, "Oh, what do you mean?" I mean, like we're gonna avoid it completely because we're gonna be the 6th seed and we don't gotta worry about that.
Right. So, right. And then that's what I think we are.
That's what my optimism is. But I tell you what, I always say superstars are born in the playoffs.
Right.
Like you won't find a superstar in this league that hasn't elevated his game and did it in the playoffs. Right. So until then, you might have some stars, you might have some rising players, right? But you will not become a superstar. I am so interested in to see what our guys can do in the playoffs. I don't care if it's 8th seed or 10th seed made it in the play-in and then made it to the playoffs.
Right.
But I'm excited to see what these young guys, because at the very least, I'm not expecting anybody to ascend to superstardom, but that's a starting point,
Right.
It's a starting point.
Right.
I great, man.
Yeah, man. I appreciate the time. Of course, we're gonna have to do this on some Nas. We're gonna have to do this on some Nas.
Hey, we get a whole we get a panel going, and hey, we get a panel going. I might have to call it Yo Black It's Time though.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes.
For sure.
So
Nas discography breakdown. What's up with that?
How many shows we gonna do? Like, how much time we gonna have?
Hey,
because that, to me, that sounds like a mini series. You know what I'm saying? That sounds like because I'd like to go verse by verse because I heard the dudes I heard the dudes say I sneak a Uzi on the island in my army jacket lining, right? And so people don't get it. They like, oh, he snuck a Uzi on the island. No, listen to his wordplay, and then think about what he told you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so my man is a different kind of special. But man, I got to get out of here. I got to prep for the Knicks at Night podcast because we're gonna be bumping tonight.
I'm gonna try to sneak in there a little after midnight. I'm gonna spend this last 40 minutes or 50 minutes with my daughter, watch a movie or something. But I know you on till 3, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. So
they keep me. I'll be like every show, no lie, and I'll get out of here off this. But every show I'll be like, yo, we're gonna keep it to 90 minutes tops. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 2 hours. But bro, dudes start, man, at 2 hours, dudes start unbuckling their pants. They take their top shirt off. You know what I'm saying? Dudes light up their Newport, whatever. They just not getting comfortable at 2 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? They be ready to go 2 more hours. You know,
they say it's COVID time. We can't go clubbing.
Right.
We up.
Yeah, and so they met, and so to have a channel where people legit embrace the family atmosphere and they feel that comfortable speaking. So because sometimes I have to remind them, I'm like, I have to remind them, like, y'all, listen, y'all know that there's 150, 200 people watching this right now. They'd be like, oh yeah, I forgot. Because they'd be so comfortable with the conversation.
It's like we in the barbershop.
Right. And so it's one of them deals where I'm just glad that I could be a part of it. But man, I appreciate you for having me.
Hey.
So if y'all haven't done it, subscribe to the channel, like these shows, share them on social media, turn on your notifications, and support my man in these endeavors. Because at the end of the day, all of us are doing stuff for y'all. We want y'all to enjoy this experience because up until recently, y'all hadn't had experiences like this. Y'all hadn't had the opportunity to have y'all voices be heard. So support my man while he do these things, and then that way you can get the content that you want and deserve.
I appreciate it, man. And not only that, man, I'm looking for guests. So if you want to make a list of your Knicks and Bruises and have it ready, and I'm reaching out to all the Knicks fans. You know,
Word.
It's a big family and it's a lot of us. So
right,
get your Knicks and Bruises ready. Get ready to share it with the world. Let's get it out. Let's let it go, and we can focus on this new Knicks team, this new Knicks regime, and hopefully we get to the promised land.
Word, no doubt.
Freezie, I appreciate you, bro. Big homie, I appreciate it, man. Keep doing your thing. I'll see you a little bit later. Thank you for the time, man.
Word, no doubt, man. Appreciate you, man.
Just under the record. I think my last one was 145. So we had 133, just under the record. But I appreciate you, bro. Shout out to
man.
the chat. Hey, Black is time.
Yeah, man. Peace, y'all.
Peace.
All right.